Hey, I'm Adam Beamish. I'm the president of Mark Beamish Waterproofing. We do waterproofing, caulking, coatings, paint. Also the founder of SubSmart. It's software for subcontractors. Uh, yeah, that's me. The Mark Beamish Waterproofing has been in existence since 1981, the year before I was born. My dad was the founder of the business outside of our home garage. So I kind of grew up with the business. We joke that the business was born first. It got the name, Mark Beamish Waterproofing. It's junior, and I was born second, just after. But I grew up with the business. Grew up in it. I took over in 2006. Is when I got involved. Became president 2009. Um, and each year we complete roughly 700 projects, annual revenues like 25 to 30 million a year. And headcount is roughly 150 to 200 employees is what we're running.
hmm Awesome, awesome. So uh, how was it to grow up around this business, and how has that impacted your running of it and growth? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. My dad is like a true tradesman. He kind of fell into the business. His father died when he was 16 years old. So he grew up, on the wrong side of the tracks in Orange County, working blue collar, odd jobs. He was robbed at gunpoint at a 7-Eleven at some point that kind of like woke him up a little bit. Um, he ended up in construction working with a guy who was having difficulty um, paying the bills. He noticed that if he didn't get to the bank quick enough, there wouldn't be enough in the account to pay his paycheck. They're having difficulty keeping the same materials on the jobs because he wasn't paying his bills with the vendors. And so he was also like running gambling debts and drug stuff on the side for his employer. And he was just thinking to himself, like, man, like, it doesn't feel like we're doing things the right way. And if could I be successful if I set out to do things quote unquote the right way? So he started the company out of his garage. Growing up, I was riding the pickup trucks, listening to the banter on the walkie-talkies, the Nextels they had. My dad used to pour himself an extra cup of coffee in the morning, and our house was backed up to the freeway. He would tell the guys that pull off onto the side of the freeway. He had a ladder against the wall of our backyard and would climb the ladder over to the freeway and catch a ride off the guys off the side of the freeway on the way to the job site so you can get that extra cup of coffee in the morning. So it's like a blue collar upbringing. Um, as I grew, I had a traumatic brain injury scheme, and it kind of took me out of like being a like the physical kind of kid. I was 8 years old when I had the traumatic brain injury, so I didn't horseplay or rough around or do like physical sports, and so I became like a bookworm and like a real studious kid. So I kind of went on a divergent path of my dad, who was real physical and tactile, and then I became more of a cerebral person and ended up going to college and getting the degree. I was After college, I was doing real estate and enjoying some success. I had a couple bosses or mentors that um, had inconsistencies in their lifestyle, um, similar to what my dad was experiencing when he was around my age. Just couldn't find anybody that was doing things right, and so I asked my dad for coffee, and we're sitting there in his home. And he had a nice custom home, um, like a retractable TV in the cabinet and like a coffee machine in the wall. And I'm like, Dad, what is it that you do again? He's like, come check it out. Come work with me. And by that time, the business had kind of evolved into like a more substantial thing, where there was like a role for somebody who was more intellectual and more, I don't know, like educated, I guess. And so I checked it out. And the first week I was there, guys were coming back from the field and showing me all the work they did. We had like little digital cameras. Oh, look at what I did! Look what I did! And the pride of their workmanship like really captivated me. They were so proud of what they had done. They were so excited to show me. And here I was selling real estate on the commercial side or dabbling in some residential, and nobody was proud of their work. Nobody felt good at the end of the week. Like, with these guys who are doing something that's getting painted over or was getting buried, were so proud of what they were doing. And so that got me kind of like into it. Like, there's like, oh man, like this is what life is all about. Having satisfaction for a day's hard work or a week's hard work. So that's a long story, but that informs like how I got into it and growing up in it, how it affected me, and that's a long version of how I got from there to here.
That's awesome. So, you started working with your dad. Was there certain areas you focused on first, or like what was your main
Yeah,
focus?
he at the time he was having difficulty collecting the money, and so he thought that college boy could sit there and go through the reports and call in the money. So he had me start with that, helping with collections, and he taught me the concept of you attract more bees with honey, and that was kind of like our collections technique. Rather than getting the bat out of the baseball bat out of the closet, we were more being nice guys to work with and collecting the money. And then after that, I did some time in the field. Um, but I was never like a trades person. I never got the experience with getting my hands really dirty and doing that whole bit. So um, pretty early on, I was more focusing on the office things and ordering the materials and scheduling work and then selling work and then figuring out processes and systems and procedures and software and attorneys and banks and that kind of stuff. So and that was stuff that suited me that my dad was not suited for.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds like a very strong match, like you and your dad's expertise and skills.
Oh yeah, there's I forget the author. There's the book called Traction, where it talks about like the second generation owner installs processes and systems and structures, and like that kind of profile is the perfect to succeed the entrepreneur energy. And it wasn't by intention or design, but that's exactly what happened for us. Is that my dad had the entrepreneur skill set, and I came in just at the right time with the right kind of tool belt for where we were as an organization.
Mhm. Awesome, awesome. Well, it sounds like you guys have done a tremendous amount of growth since you came into the business. Can you talk about, how you accomplished that?
Sure. When I came in, we were doing about 2,000 transactions a year, 2,000 projects. We had just completed our first $1 million month, and there's a lot of excitement around that. But every sale took so much administrative uh, back office work because of the size of our transaction. In the time since I took over and have put more of my systems in place and more of my process my philosophy in place, we have shrunk our transaction number volume down to 700 projects. We're getting more market on the jobs. So fewer jobs, but larger capture of each project. So that's made our ability to scale a lot easier. Um, so that's like one of the strategies. Every job that we do in construction carries a certain kind of implied risk of a project losing funding or lawsuit litigation. So really reducing our transaction count while still kind of boosting the revenue was a little bit of that was an intentional strategy we took.
Okay. So was it a focus on larger, like better, more specific jobs versus
Yep.
like
Yep.
shotgun approach to
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. I think the entrepreneurial style of my dad, every job's a good job. And I had to come in and take a little bit of approach of accepting that and not. rejecting that customer centric heart and saying some jobs are better for us than others, and some clients are better for us than others. So, it's been, if I took over in 2009, it's been quite a number of years that we've kind of slowly, you know, broken away from some of the type of transactions, some of the clients that weren't good for us. But we reduced our client count from hundreds to really only focus on about 40 at a time. And we evaluate those quarterly, maybe a couple times a year. Are these 40 customers like our true core? So a lot of like trimming and pruning of the clients, a lot of trimming and pruning of the services that we do, to kind of hone in what we're really good at and not just chasing after every job. So, and a big part of that is how our software came to life, is that using the data to analyze what bids we're pursuing, what clients we're pursuing, what clients are really profitable, what types of projects we're successful at. Just being a little more analytical than just gut and feel, have helped us do that.
Mhm. Awesome. Awesome. So is there a specific niche you go after, or a specific job that you guys focus on?
Yeah. We're non-union contractor, so we're not pursuing the big SoFi Stadium projects or um, the big signature projects that most the your audience would know in Southern California. We're not going after those big ones. We like the jobs that are smaller, but with enough volume in them for us to only have to do 700 in a year. So we're picky and selective about what kind of projects we look at, and we've come to accept and appreciate that they're not all good.
Yeah. How do you determine a good project from a not so good one?
The client is important. So if the general contractor that we're working on matters a lot, there's good builders and there's bad builders, and then beyond that, their customers matter. So there's a couple clients that will do everything that they pursue except for that one. It's almost like meatloaf. Like, I'll do everything for you, but I won't do that. So we have a list of the owners that we don't want to work for, and different type of project that we know that we're not fit for. Um, we're not going to be profitable, and they're not going to be happy with us on this job. So let's not pursue those type of opportunities.
Yeah, gotcha. And I'm sure word of mouth referrals are a lot of business comes through relationships. Are there any other specific ways that you all find clients?
You know, we've been around for 40 plus years. Uh, we're we turn away over 50% of what comes in the door at us.
Wow.
So, I'm blessed and fortunate we're not pursuing a whole lot of new business and trying to drum up new work. Um, and we take the approach to just be really good for our customers, and they'll come back and they'll refer us to other people. In construction, it's a small network and community. A lot of our newer customers are places where a customer we served really well before, they the individual has moved on someplace else, and then they pulled us in. So some of our hot new accounts are not new at all. They're people we've worked with for 20 plus years.
Wow, that is that's an impressive statement. Turning down 50% of jobs. I've done a lot of podcasts. I don't think I've ever heard someone
Right?
drop the mic quite like
Yeah.
that.
I've got a business consultant friend of mine. He says, "Man, you've got platinum problems." I'm like, "I know. Thank you." Yeah, grateful for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. What a
But that's a
compliment.
big part of what we're doing. Like, I've got what we're doing well. Our staff here, we've got over a dozen employees that have been here over 20 years, and a part of me taking over, um, and being a good steward of the business is that while there had to been changes to the business, I mean, we didn't even have a website. We didn't have emails when I first came in. We've had to mature and evolved. I've worked hard. My leadership team works really hard to maintain kind of the core values and like the essence of who we are. And the guys that have been here, 20, 30, 40 years will say it's changed a lot. Like the world's changed a lot, but we've stayed true to ourselves. And the vision my dad had, at the home garage of just doing the right thing and treating people well and having integrity. We all work really hard to maintain that and to keep that. I had a meeting last week with a more junior and newer person was leading the meeting, and they skipped the mission, vision, values portion of the meeting. And I had to coach him and say, like, I know it feels repetitive. I know it feels excessive to say it over and over, but those things 40 years in are really important. Repetition matters and language matters. And that's how you keep that continuity. And, people keep coming back because they know they can rely uh, on the brand and getting what they expect.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So I previously lived in Los Angeles, so I was
Okay.
over the years. I've since moved to. I live in Barcelona, Spain. What is it like, running a business in California? How do you manage? I imagine there may be quite a bit of bureaucracy there.
That's an interesting question. It's absolutely true. I've got family and friends, all over the country, and we talk about this frequently. And they're like, "Well, isn't it hard?" And all you can do is find out the rules of engagement, stay in tune with them, and keep your head down and work hard. I mean, that's the name of the game. You got to keep going, and whatever the rules are and however they change, you got to play by them. It's interesting in Southern California, the the whole like immigration debate and all that that's going on. The rules of the engagement are clear, and you got to play by those rules, and that's just what it is. So I think when you're operating with integrity, like it makes it you can complain all you want, or you can on the outside, but you can only control what you can control, right? So uh, figure out the rules and play by them is what we say.
Amen, amen. It's a great perspective on it. I
Yeah.
respect. Can you talk about SubSmart, your software venture?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. So SubSmart was born almost 10 years ago. As we started to scale and I started adding more estimators, I had a sense that how I was selling was effective, and the leading sales guys were doing things like the right way in a certain way. But as new people came on, I felt that like loss of control and uniformity of, the terms and conditions, the bid template, having making sure the bids were on time and tracking all that. So I ended up expending so much of my waking hours, of my working hours, just micromanaging everything, making sure everything was going to the customer with uniformity and predictably. I At that time there was a couple strong software platforms available. We made the decision to spend a little extra on Salesforce, and that was one of the best decisions we made. The whole team got involved, and we really moved Salesforce out of the box and customized it to fit like the subcontracting environment like perfectly. And then after estimating got dialed in and dialed up and predictable and manageable, and we had all this accountability built in because of all the data, then operations start kind of like using Salesforce for scheduling and dispatch and creating a little gamification with the teams and production. Then the accounting started using it. Like the whole organization started using, what had been our Salesforce instance. And I'm in other networking groups and other subcontractors. Like, how do you manage all that? I've got a whiteboard, I've got spreadsheets, I'm using Outlook, I'm using all the software, and they're asking me, hey, can I consult with them or can I show them how I was using Salesforce? Um, I was up late one night on vacation and chatting with my wife, like, hey, like I really feel like I got something with this software. Like everyone's asked me for it. I'm helping everybody, like all my other subcontractor friends do this. And then within a matter of like 4 weeks, my friend who was the third party implementer of the however many years prior, he called me. He's like, "Hey, do you remember me?" I'm like, "Of course I remember. You set up our system." He's like, that's the best thing I ever did. I keep on getting asked to do that over and over again. And I'm like, that's crazy. I'm getting asked the same thing to help them do that. And so we started SubSmart about 3 years ago, and we're finding over and over the value of the subcontractors to get everything off the whiteboard and the spreadsheet and all into one system. And now with the emergence of AI, the value of having all your stuff in one place, then you could tell, AI is like actually meaningful when your data is like consolidated, right? And so it's just taken off, and it's been a ton of fun to help other subcontractors solve the same problems over and over. Like we all got the same problem. I think it feels good to look at each other and be like, I, I've been there too, like we've all been there and we can help. So it's been a lot of fun. I just got back yesterday from helping a client out, and it's been neat. It's been really gratifying and rewarding to help people get all the spreadsheets put to bed, and the whiteboard can be used to draw pictures and whatever, solve daily problems. But it's not the place where, the last place we're at, they were worried that if the cleaning crew came in and wiped it, or if somebody walked in and like backed up against it, they would lose their whole pipeline of sales. They wouldn't know who they need to call. I'm like, this is not right. Let's fix that. So it's been a fun thing that's taken off and turned into something more, which is really exciting.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are coming towards the end of our time together. I have one final question for you. It is the name of the program. It's an open-ended question. You can take it in any direction that you like. Long-term, short-term, medium-term, personal,
Sure.
yes, all the above. Answer it multiple ways. The question is, what are you working towards?
Well, that's a great question. And I've said this for a long time in regards to the business. Like, we just want to be good. I think I don't think when I first was given the keys to the business, I was 26 years old, and I was so caught up with chasing revenue and setting revenue goals that I missed everything else. The profits, cash, all those things, I got blinded by just chasing revenue. And I find, especially in the SubSmart, I find other subcontractors fall in fall victim to the same temptation. But I will say, beyond profits and cash, which, obviously you don't have a business without those, being good matters. And I think when we install SubSmart, we help these other subcontractors. What we try to emphasize when we're getting them going is like, keep your promises to your customers. This helps you stay organized so you can deliver a bit on time. So when you say you're scheduling something, you dispatch, you show up, you get it done when you say you will. Just being really good is like what I'm chasing, what I'm pursuing, where I'm taking this. We just want to be good, maintain our integrity, develop a reputation that you take to the grave, and yeah, it's honoring my father's legacy, honoring our spouses and our children with how we work, and just having integrity in everything we do and being good is really where we're going and what we're pursuing, and that's the goal.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I would say you were definitely walking the talk. Everything you've shared would attest to that goal, and that's I think a beautiful thing, man.
Well, thank you. I
So,
appreciate it, Chris.
what is this? Where can my audience find out more about you and everything you all are working on?
Yeah, you can find us online. You can find me through my LinkedIn. Markbeamish.com is the waterproofing business, and getsubsmart.com is the software and consulting. And if anything, I've talked about resonates, like I just love to talk about it. So, I'm happy if anyone wants to call me and, pick my brain. And it's been an honor to travel and help people out in other regions, and just happy to serve. So whatever I can do, call me and I'll be there,
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate that. Adam, well, thank you so much, man. It was a pleasure to get to know you better.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a blast. All right, to all our listeners out there, thanks so much for tuning in, and keep on growing out there, everybody. See ya.